As I told you, what we are supposed to study is composition and function of blood. So here we start with what is a blood and what is the important features of blood. Here you can see that if you take the blood, the weight of the blood is nearly 8% of the body weight of a person is actually contributed by blood. That is, if you have 50 kg, less than 4 kg will be blood. So that is the idea you should have in your mind. Now females have 4 to 5 liters of blood, while male have a 5 to 6 liters of blood because of higher body, larger body size. It means temperature is its mean temperature. Mean temperature means the average temperature of the blood will be around 38 degrees centigrade, slightly 1 degree higher than the general mean temperature of the body. Now coming to the pH of the blood, it is 7.35 to 7.45. That means 7 is the neutral pH. So if it is 7.35 means very slightly alkaline or very slightly basic. Now whole blood is 4.5 to 5.5 times viscous. Viscous means thicker. So the thickness of the blood, that is why we always say blood is thicker than water, because the same thing applies here. It is 4.5 to 5.5 times thicker or viscous than water, indicate that its rate of flow. If you take a drop of water and drop of blood, blood will be moving very slowly. That is a meaning, a functional meaning of that sentence. The blood in artery is brighter red, while the blood in veins will be slightly more bluish or purplish in color, because arterial blood will be carrying more number of oxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood will be having a deep bright color. So that is why the blood in artery, which carries mostly oxygenated blood or pure blood, will be brighter red in color. So these are some facts about blood. Now what are the functions of blood? That also we have to see before we move into the composition. Now coming to the main function, there are three main functions for the blood. One is transport of different particle, like transport of substance means mainly carbon dioxide and oxygen. That is one important type of gas which are transported by the blood. Then another is the transport of nutrients. Nutrients will be transported to various parts of the body, like glucose, amino acid, etc. Then similarly, waste materials are also transported by the blood. Hormones are transported by the blood. So these are the main important role as far as the transport function is concerned. Then protection. Blood is containing antibodies, and there are number of cells in the certain type of WBC are highly specialized in finding and killing bacteria. So they have a bacteria killing capacity. So because of that, blood has a capacity of offering us protection from enemies or protection from microorganism. And by the presence of this antibacterial substance like antibodies, they are giving an effective protection against most of the microorganism or like bacteria and viruses, etc. Then another function of the blood is with regard to regulation of the body temperature. That is the most important function, because if you check the temperature, there are certain cameras called thermal camera, infrared camera. If you take an image of you with the help of infrared camera, you can see that the center part of your body will be more warmer or more reddish in color, whereas if you look at the hands, legs, etc., they will be less warmer or more colder. So if you check the temperature here and at the end of the hand or at the end of the feet, the extremities or the hands and legs of your body will be less warmer or more colder. So that is one reason why when we are walking on a snow, you may get snow bite, or frost bite. What happens in a frost bite is that the hands and toes may get frozen. Sometimes it has to be removed. That much damage can be done. So the frost bite is usually happening on the toes. So the reason is that when blood is moving from center of the body to different parts of the body, the blood is actually carrying the warmth of the blood. What is the temperature of the blood? 38 degree. That warmth of the blood or heat of the blood will be carry to different parts of the body. Mainly in our body, the heat is generated at the region of liver. Liver is the primary organ which is producing most of the heat in our body. That heat is actually gradually taken to different part of the body by the movement of the blood. So this is how blood is helping to keep a uniform body temperature throughout the body. Now come to the composition of the blood. Here the blood, this is something you have also studied. So blood has a two portion. One is a solid portion, other is a liquid portion. Liquid portion we call by the name plasma, which is a clear extracellular fluid. Extracellular means outside the cell. So outside, so if you take a blood in an artery or a vein, there will be liquid and there will be number of solid particles called RBC and WBC. So this the liquid part is what we call by the name plasma. Then formed elements. Formed elements are mainly the cells of the blood or the formed elements, which mainly means the blood cells like RBC, WBC and platelets. These are the three different types of cells which are forming the solid particle or formed elements of the blood. The formed elements are formed based because they are enclosed in a plasma membrane, have a definite structure and a shape. They have a definite form. That is why they are known by the name formed element. They have a cell membrane and everything here, and they have a cytoplasm and cellular organelles are there. So that is the reason why they are known by the name formed elements. All formed elements are cells. So you know what is a cell, except platelets. Platelets we cannot call a true cell, which are tiny fragments of bone marrow cell. So that is the peculiarity of platelet. Platelet cells are also present in larger number. Sometimes in certain disease we might have heard about the platelet count has gone down. So we have to eat a lot of certain type of fruits or some other things like I don't know. I am not able to get that name of the fruit. Such especially in certain disease, what I am not getting that name of the disease. The platelet count will be significantly lower in certain diseases. So that is the importance of platelets. Platelets has a very important role in maintaining the immune function of the body. So here you can see what are the major components of the blood. You can see here, you can see these are the different formed elements. So one is the most of the formed elements are actually RBC. RBC are dark, bright red in color, and their shape is like this. This is, see, you can see just like a tire. You can see the center portion is actually sunken. So it is sometimes we call as a biconave. Biconave. Both sides are depressed or hollowed out like this. Biconave disc. So this side, top side and bottom side will be having a concave depression. Because of that, they are known as a biconave disc. So this is the shape of RBC. Now one important feature of the RBC is that RBC is completely filled with hemoglobin. There is no nucleus. It is one of the very few cells in the body that does not contain a nucleus. So nucleus is absent. What is the function served by absence of nucleus? Because RBC is designed as a structure to transport oxygen. If nucleus is present, that will be carrying some space. So the nature has removed nucleus also. So it is nucleus has also been removed. So that entire cell is actually modified for transporting oxygen through hemoglobin. So and the complete nearly 99% of the RBC is actually filled with hemoglobin and become an efficient organ, efficient system for transporting oxygen. So that is the reason why oxygen nucleus is also absent. But in case of WBC, you can see the violet cell. See, violet cells are of different type. They are the bigger cells these are the bigger cell. They are known as the monocyte. Now one important peculiarity of the monocyte is the nature of its nucleus. Inside you can say this is the nucleus. This is the nucleus. The nucleus is sometimes bean shaped or a kidney shaped. There is a, here you can see that just like the shape of a bean or a kidney, here there is a depression. So because of that, it is kidney shaped or bean shaped, and the size of the WBC is comparatively larger than the size of the other WBC. It is the largest WBC also. This is something you have studied also. So in addition to that, and there is a clear cytoplasm also here. Now another type of WBC is here also you can see that that is smaller. Here also you can see that is comparatively smaller, and it is known by the lymphocyte. So lymphocyte is the smallest WBC, monocyte is the largest WBC. In case of lymphocyte, it is mostly the nucleus is mostly occupying the entire cytoplasm. So it's a very small cell known by the lymphocyte. Lymphocytes are actually helping in production of the antibodies also. So this is an idea regarding what are the different type of WBC. WBC is also known by the leukocyte. Leuko means white cells. Then we have platelets. These kind of small particles are known by the name platelets. They do not have a proper cellular organization. Now we will go deeper into what are the features of WBC and also RBC and platelets. So coming to the first cell known by the name WBC, you can see that they are categorized into two categories. One is known as the granulocyte, another is known by the name agranulocyte. So if you look at closely, you can see that certain WBC are actually filled with a lot of granules inside, and the presence of granules makes them appear filled with the granules. So they are known as granulocyte. Mainly there are three types of WBC known by the name neutrophil, eosinophil and basophil. They are known by the name granulocyte. Then there are agranulocyte. Agranulocyte means they are kind of filled with they are not filled with what is called granules. I will show you a picture. If there is a picture, I will show you that. പോയാ അതാണ് ഇവിടെ കൊണ്ടുവരാത്തത്. എപ്പോൾ വേണമെങ്കിലും പോവാം. ഇത് കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി ലൂസ് കോണ്ടാക്ട് ആയിട്ട്. ഇഷ്ടമാണെങ്കിൽ അത് പ്രവർത്തിക്കുള്ളൂ. So look at this picture. So this is a very good picture, and you can see this picture you see. This is the picture showing different type of WBC. Here the lower one are known by the name granulocyte because they are all filled with the granules. See, very clear cut you can see that. So this is the granulocyte. Here the upper two, they are known by the agranulocyte. In case of lymphocyte, granules are completely absent, but in the case of monocyte, some amount of granules will be sometimes present. So these two are known by the name agranulocyte, and here also you can see that the platelets are also present here. So in case of platelets, they are not as I told you, they are not very clearly proper cells. See here you can see that. So this is the idea regarding the formation of different type of WBC as well as different type C. the lymphocyte is actually of three different types are there. These are the different type of granulocyte. So that is an idea regarding how the nature of WBC with regard to the presence and absence of granules. Now second is that the formed elements, what are formed elements? Solid particles or blood cells. They can be separated from plasma by using an apparatus known as centrifuge. Have you seen a centrifuge? You have not seen a centrifuge. If you have not seen a centrifuge, I will show you a picture. Maybe centrifuge is a small instrument. So this is how a centrifuge will be appearing. See, this is a centrifuge. See, okay, this is the centrifuge. Okay, and inside the centrifuge you can keep a test tube containing. See here, you can see that. If you take a centrifuge, inside that you can keep a test tube filled with the blood, and this centrifuge will be rotating at very high speed. So as a result of that rotation, centrifugal force will come. In physics you might have studied centrifugal force. So certain part will be moving away from the center, and what actually causing is that sedimentation process will take place. So if you keep take a glass of water and put some sand in that, initially it will be yellowish in color. After some time, sand particles will be slowly settling down or sedimenting down and leaving upper portion clear. The same thing happens here, but this machine will be making it several times faster. So that is the purpose of sedimentation, and so this is the idea in case of sedimentation. Then, and as a result of this sedimentation, what we are getting is that we are getting a thing something like this. So initially this will be the entire blood test tube will be filled with the blood. After centrifuging it for 1 hour or 2 hours, we can see that upper portion becomes yellowish in color or clear of any solid particle. All the RBC will be settling at the bottom, and that will be this constituting a reddish portion. That reddish portion is known by the name hematocrit. Okay, so that is known by the name hematocrit, and above that we can see a white buffy coat, mainly formed of WBC, and that portion is known by the name buffy coat, and above that there is a pale yellowish watery portion which we call by the name plasma. So plasma contains water, protein, nutrients and hormones. Here you get written. Whereas buffy coat means mainly WBC and platelets. Hematocrit means RBC. So hematocrit for a normal person will be 37 to 47%. Then when the hematocrit is too low, that means RBC is very low. In such a situation, you can see instead of 37, it will come down to some 25 or below that. Then we call by the name anemia. And there is an opposite situation, whereas there is excess of RBC. So instead of this level, it will be reaching a higher level of 50 or 60. Then we call it by the name polycythemia. So these are some of the different abnormalities associated with the RBC. So normally it is 45% of RBC will be constituting 45% of the total volume, and this volume is known by the name hematocrit. So what is the meaning of the word hematocrit? Is the volume found by RBC or volume found by the formed elements. So that will give you some idea regarding the presence and absence of many diseases. Now as you can see, the second portion is the blood plasma. It is actually a mixture of protein, enzyme, nutrients, waste particles, hormones and gases. And the specific, now we have to see what, even though we call it by the name blood plasma, we may say water, protein, nutrients and hormones. But it is more complicated than that simple definition. Coming to the protein, these are the most abundant substance in plasma by weight and play a part in variety of roles including clotting, defense and transport. You will see some of them. They are the important reserve supply of amino acid. So the amino acid needed by the body are mainly obtained from different proteins present in the RBC. Then plasma protein also act as a carrier for other molecules. Carrier means they will be transporting several some kind of hormones can also be transported by this plasma protein. Then they help to give the blood slightly basic. Now, earlier we have seen that the pH of the blood is not 7, it is 7.35 or 7.45. That means it is slightly basic. That alkaline nature is mainly imparted by the presence of this protein. Most of them are alkaline protein. The plasma protein interact in specific way to cause blood to coagulate. The coagulation of blood, mainly fibrin, that is a plasma protein. So, in the absence of this plasma protein, the coagulation may not work properly. Then plasma protein governs the distribution of water between blood and tissue fluid by producing what is known as colloid osmotic pressure. There is a pressure between water, the blood and the water present outside the blood vessel. That pressure is known by the name osmotic pressure, also known by the name colloid osmotic pressure. So pressure of the blood is actually controlled by the presence of protein. So these are some of the important roles of the plasma protein. Then plasma protein have another type. There are three major types of plasma protein. One is known as albumin. So coming to the albumin, they are the smallest and the most abundant plasma protein. Their reduction in plasma volume can result in loss of blood from blood and gain of fluid in interstitial space, which may occur in nutritional, liver or kidney. So there are three different types of plasma protein. Here you can see that they are albumin, globulin, fibrinogen. So the main function of regarding the different type of plasma protein, you can see the percentage wise. Albumin occupying 60%, globulin 35%, fibrinogen 4%, and other proteins are only less than 1%. So going to the function of albumin, they are mainly involved in maintaining the osmotic pressure. Coming to the function of globulin, they are mainly producing the antibody or immunoglobulin and also act as a transport protein. And fibrinogen is concerned with the production of fibrin. Their functions is they are helping in blood clotting. So this is an idea regarding what are the major type of plasma protein: albumin, globulin, fibrinogen and other protein. So this way plasma proteins are playing a very important role in controlling the osmotic pressure, immune function, etc. of the blood. And here you can see another thing about the globulin. What is the globulin? Globulin is mainly contributing antibodies. Now globulin can be subdivided again into two types. One is known as a high density lipoprotein known as LDL and an alpha 1 globulin, and second is low density lipoprotein known by the name LDL. Sometimes you might have heard about this HDL and LDL, especially with regard to cholesterol. So the HDL functions in lipid transport, carrying fat. The transport of fat is actually helped by, so HDL functions in lipid fat transport, carrying fat to cells in energy metabolism. That is, if there is too much HDL in the blood, what these HDL proteins will be doing? They carry the cholesterol fat and taken it into the cell, inside the cytoplasm. So transporting from the blood into the cytoplasm of the cell. That is what HDL proteins are doing. Whereas the LDL cholesterol are doing opposite thing. So HDL functions the lipid transport, carrying fat to cell for energy metabolism, membrane reconstruction and hormone function. They also appear to prevent cholesterol from invading and settling on the wall of the artery. That is another function. So if there is too much cholesterol, that will be deposited on the inner side of the artery, and that will be leading to a situation known by the name arteriosclerosis. So this process can be prevented by HDL. That is why always doctors say HDL is a good cholesterol, because it prevents arteriosclerosis and it also carries the fat from blood into the cell. Then LDL cholesterol, another type of cholesterol, low density lipoprotein, carries cholesterol and fat to tissues for use in manufacturing steroid hormone and building cell membrane. That is the role, but it favors the deposition of cholesterol. That is, if too much LDL cholesterol is present, this cholesterol will be deposited on the inner wall of the artery, whereas HDL cholesterol is just doing opposite function. So that is why we call HDL as a good cholesterol, because it prevents fat deposition or cholesterol deposition on the inner wall of the artery, whereas LDL cholesterol will be doing that. So that is why LDL cholesterol is sometimes known as a bad cholesterol. So this is an idea. So HDL and LDL are not actually cholesterol, they are actually protein, actually globulins, high density lipoprotein. They are transport proteins for lipid. One is transporting cholesterol into the cell membrane, into the cell. Other is helping in the deposition of the fat on the inner wall of the cell membrane, inner wall of the inner wall of the arterial wall. Then third is the fibrinogen. Fibrinogen, here you can see the fibrinogen is only forming 4% of the total volume is that. So in case of fibrinogen is playing a very major role in that. Fibrin plays an important role in coagulation of the blood. What is blood coagulation? Clotting of the blood. Now, so that is a function of the fibrinogen. Without fibrin, so in our body there is a substance known as a fibrinogen. When this fibrinogen is normally in a soluble nature, so during a injury, this soluble fibrinogen will be converted into insoluble type of product known by the name fibrin, and this fibrin is making the clot. So for the formation of clot formation, fibrinogen is an important protein needed by the body. So no fibrinogen, no clotting will be taking place. Now in addition to these proteins, we have different type of amino acids are there, nitrogenous waste materials are there. They are actually end products of of the breakdown of substance in the body. So these are also present in our blood. Then nutrients are there, like amino acid, glucose, fats, cholesterol, vitamin, all these will be present in our blood. So this is a general idea regarding what are the various substances. So other than these nutrients, we have gases also, mainly oxygen is present and carbon dioxide is present. Then small amount of dissolved nitrogen will be also present in our blood. So these are the three different type of gases which are present in our blood. Then electrolytes means mainly sodium ions and potassium ions. They can be also present in the plasma. So that is lot of substances are there. Blood plasma contain proteins. Proteins are of three different types: albumin, globulin, fibrinogen, and other protein. Then we have amino acids are there, nitrogenous waste materials are there, nutrients there, gases are there, and electrolytes. So this is an idea regarding what is the composition of blood. So blood is mainly plasma plus blood cell. So we have to explain what are the different type of blood cell, and you need to explain what are the different substance present in the plasma also. Now in next class we will focus on what are the features of RBC, that we will be discussing in our next class. So now we stop here. One question.